So recently there's been a lot of new information revealed for Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is pretty exciting, and I thought it was about time that I made a new speculation video for the games. So here we are, I guess. So recently there's been a lot of new Pokemon revealed in particularly, which is pretty exciting because that means it's pretty likely the region is going to introduce a lot of new Pokemon as well. I'm pretty sure we've seen over 20 new Pokemon revealed. I think it's only like 25. I'm not sure if that number's correct, but it's something like 25 new Pokemon already revealed for the Alola region, and the games are not even out yet, which is absolutely crazy. It means there's going to be a lot of new Pokemon in this region, and I am honestly really excited for that. But along with these new Pokemon, there's also been a lot of new abilities revealed, and most of these abilities look like they're going to be really good in competitive battling, which is also exciting that they're starting to pay more attention to the competitive scene. So that's pretty awesome. I guess except for the ability Wimp Out, you can that's probably not going to be that great in competitive battling, let's be honest. But other than that, these abilities look absolutely crazy. Like, we're talking about priority recovery, defense boosts. I don't know the names of the abilities, I'm just coming up with these off the top of my head, but there's just some of the abilities that have been revealed. And it got me thinking, it got me pondering about what other abilities may be introduced in these new games. So I did a bit of research and found this website, which is absolutely fantastic. It just has a whole list of fan-made abilities, so that'll be linked in the description below. It's a really great website. And I handpicked a few abilities that I personally think would be amazing to see in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So yeah, today we're going to be going over new abilities that I want to see in Pokemon Sun and Moon. I hope you guys are excited. Hit that like button if you love me, and let's get into this. So most of the abilities I chose them because I thought they would be really good in competitive battling. I just wanted to clear that up before we continue. That's pretty much the premise I was going off with my ability choosing methods. So yeah. And since this video doesn't really require a lot of editing, since I'm pretty much just naming an ability's name and then telling you guys what it does, I thought it would be a pretty cool idea to include some gameplay footage on the screen, so at least there's something happening while I talk. In the gameplay, I'm actually trying to get a Snubble Sweep, which I plan to do for 10k. Hopefully I can get one by then. It's been really tough, but anyways, let's get into the video. So the first ability I found was called Persistent, and this ability looks pretty awesome. It looks like it could be pretty useful in competitive battling as well, so pretty much what this ability does is it makes it so a Pokemon cannot be fainted by poison or burn damage. Now, I feel like this wouldn't have so much of an impact in competitive battling, because it's not too often that a Pokemon actually faints to poison or burn damage, but it does happen occasionally, and it just feels like it should be an ability. I'm not sure why, but just something about this ability just feels like it should be in the games, and that's why I put it on the list. And obviously it still has a lot of viability in competitive battling, because it means Toxic Stall is not going to always work on whatever Pokemon has this ability. So yeah, let's slide on over to the next ability. So this next ability is actually really cool, and it would be very viable in competitive battling. So the ability is called Imitator, and this ability pretty much allows the Pokemon to copy the opponent's stat changes upon entry. So this means if your opponent is setting up heaps of Dragon Dances, you can just send in a Pokemon with the ability Imitator, and it'll automatically have all the stat changes that the Pokemon setting up Dragon Dances had. This is a great ability because it pretty much means that you can actually counteract sweeps. If your opponent's sweeping you, you can bring in a Pokemon with Imitator, and then just start sweeping the opponent. It's just, I feel like it looks like a really OP ability, so I'm not sure, you might have to have it on a bit of a weaker Pokemon just to balance that out a bit, but this ability just looks really awesome, and I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to use competitively, so yeah. So the next ability is called Lockjaw, and pretty much this ability allows biting moves, which are used by the Pokemon, to trap the enemy for 2 to 3 turns. So if a Pokemon has the ability Lockjaw and say goes for Bite on the opponent's Pokemon, that means the opponent's Pokemon won't be able to switch out for 2 to 3 turns. And I think this is pretty interesting, and I really like the name of this ability, Lockjaw, because you're actually locking the opponent by using a biting move. I just think that's really cool, and I could see a lot of Pokemon having this ability. So yeah, I think it'd be a really nice addition in Pokemon Sun and Moon, and it'd be really useful and competitive as well, because if you could trap an enemy and then switch into a Pokemon which can just pretty much wall or destroy the opponent's Pokemon, you know, that'll be pretty handy. The next ability is called Stirred, and this is a pretty interesting ability because what it does is it allows all 0 priority moves to have a +1 priority if the Pokemon's health is below 20%. I think this is a really awesome ability because it means that if your Pokemon's low on health, it can still put in a lot of work, especially if a slow Pokemon, like if a bulky Pokemon, have this ability, because it means you don't necessarily need to put speed investments into it, because you know the bulky Pokemon's going to eat up a hit, and then when its health gets low, it'll just always outspeed, and it'll be able to just, you know, destroy your enemies. Which I think is pretty cool, and I don't know, I just really like this ability. It's pretty swell, if you ask me. So the next ability is actually a really interesting ability, and I think it would be awesome to see in Pokemon Sun and Moon, because I don't think there's actually an ability quite like this, and the way this ability works, so it would be a really unique addition, but this ability is called Guardian Angel. So how this ability works is if a Pokemon with Guardian Angel is in your party, all of the Pokemon in your party are less likely to be affected by negative secondary effects from opponents' moves. This pretty much means that you're less likely to get frozen from an ice beam, and it also means you're less likely to get flinched, which would be really useful in competitive battling, and I don't know, I could just see a Pokemon having this ability. It'd just be a really cool addition. The next ability is called Heavy Sleeper, and pretty much how Heavy Sleeper works is if a Pokemon with this ability is asleep, its defense and special defense stats are increased by 50%. I just think this is a really awesome idea for an ability, and work really well on a bulky Pokemon which could really utilize rest, because that means it could rest up all of its health and then not be too worried to get destroyed while it's sleeping. I don't know, I just think this would be a really cool ability, and I could definitely see a Pokemon having this, like, I don't know what it's called, but that random koala Pokemon that always sleeps. It'll be on the screen, I actually forgot its name, but I could definitely see that Pokemon having an ability like Heavy Sleeper. I just think that'd be really cool. The next ability is called Aurora, and a Pokemon with the ability Aurora lowers the opponent's accuracy by 5% each time a non-damaging move is used. I'm sorry there was a massive pause when I was reading that description. I just had a random mind blank in the middle of reading a script, which is really weird, but I'm gonna continue recording because why the fuck not? So I think this ability would be really awesome to see in Pokemon Sun and Moon. It's got a lot of use competitively, because this thing will pretty much stop like Pokemon like Klefki. I don't really know how to describe them, just annoying Pokemon that just utilize non-attacking moves. This would really put a dent in them, because it means that if a Klefki decides to not attack you, it's gonna eventually get its accuracy lowered to the point where it literally cannot attack you. And I just think that's a really cool ability to put a stop to annoying Pokemon like that. Next up, we've got an ability called Sweet Dreams. And much like the ability Heavy Sleeper, which I talked about earlier, this ability really helps Pokemon while they're asleep. So, a Pokemon with the ability Sweet Dreams regains 12.5% of its health each turn if it's asleep. And I like this ability for pretty much the same reasons why I like the Heavy Sleeper ability. It really helps Pokemon which can utilize rest and not have to worry too much about getting destroyed while they're asleep. And sleep's just such an annoying status condition, so having some benefits coming from sleep is honestly really nice. And I think a Pokemon with the ability Sweet Dreams would be pretty OP, because it's just recovering health while it's sleeping. Like, that's pretty good if you ask me. So this next ability is probably my favorite on today's video. I just think it's a really unique ability, and it has a lot of viability competitively. It would just be such an OP ability, and I'd definitely love to see it in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So this ability is called Medic, and this is how it works. So when a Pokemon with the ability Medic switches out, the Pokemon that takes its place will have 25% of its health restored. How good is that ability? That is such a good ability. So if you have a Pokemon low in health, and you have your Pokemon with the ability Medic on the field, you can just switch out, bring your Pokemon on low health, and then it recovers 25, a quarter of its health, just from switching in. I think that's a really cool ability, and it would be really interesting to see it used in competitive battles. So the final ability that I'm going to be talking about on today's video is actually one that I came up with myself. So this ability is called Type Switch. Now, I'm sure you can probably come up with a better name for it than that, but this is pretty much how it works. After every turn, the Pokemon's typing is going to change to a completely random type. That's just so interesting. I don't know, I just came up with that and I thought it was really cool. Can you just imagine that though? Like, your Pokemon's literally going to change types after every turn. I think this would work really well with like a normal type Pokemon, which just, I don't know, something like Cast Form maybe, which it can even change its form with typing. That would be kind of cool, but that would be a lot of work, so that probably wouldn't happen. But either way, I think that would be a really cool ability, a really unique ability. I'm not sure how well that would work in competitive, but I would still love to see it in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So that's going to wrap up today's video, talking about new abilities that I want to see in Pokemon Sun and Moon. As I said at the beginning of the video, the website where I found these abilities at will be linked in the description below, so I definitely recommend you go check that out. And as well as that, make sure to hit that like button if you did enjoy today's video. That would be very much appreciated. It would be very appreciated. I just want to put a lot of emphasis on that. And also make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from me. And on the screen right now, there should be a video, one of my videos. I'm not sure which one. It'll be a surprise. But if you haven't seen that video and you want to see it, if it intrigues you, you should definitely go ahead and click on that. And with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Bye.